doom scrolling has become almost like we lost free will because we cannot get off of it. No matter how hard we try, it is an addiction that we all kind of relate to and just can't get off of it. But one thing that's harmful about doom scrolling is the comparison side of it. Um, back in April 2025, we had the Minecraft movie, and everybody saw the new trend of yelling chicken jockey in the movie theater. But uh, we actually went to go see it in the theater with a couple of friends, and we screamed chicken jockey at the part. It was literally, you know, just like the Instagram reels. Everybody was getting up, throwing popcorn. um, it wasn't as hype as the Instagram stuff. It was slightly off. It wasn't as hype. But that was something my brother noticed. He was there as well as my younger brother. And he did not really, feel like it was as hype as it was on Instagram. And that kind of made me a little sad. I was like, um, we've been so like hyped up over things over Instagram because we are seeing the best of the best. Like, we cannot relive what we see on Instagram because what you're seeing is literally the best moment in history like taking place. We can't recreate the hypest thing in the world, in our little movie theater with our couple of friends. Um but that's what they say, like comparison is the thief of joy. We've compared ourselves so much to that, and it's just really sad. Another thing about Instagram is the hating part. um we've come to the point where it's nothing but hate in the comment sections, hate in comparison. Everybody thinks everything is cringe now, and it's just a back and forth hate. Like, it is to the point where you could honestly like fall for like propaganda hate, where you start to hate the other side, whatever it is. Like, it could be feminism and masculinity, or it could be politics, or it could be religion. There's so much hate over both sides. You could honestly like fall for the hate and become a hater yourself. Because honestly, like I've done that too. Like, it does make a lot of sense to hate the other side once you've seen a lot of evidence of hate. Um, but that is a sad reality of that, because doom scrolling, like, it's unpredictable. But once you start letting it in, it can shove that on your feet for a long time. And speaking of time, that's what doom scrolling does. It takes up so much time, and that would be fine if that's something we chose to do, or chose to spend our time on. But usually it's not. It's usually something that we do not want to spend all of our time on. And yeah, like I can't tell you how much time I've spent on Instagram, on YouTube Shorts and stuff like that. And no matter what I do, it just takes up, a lot of time of my day almost every single day. And I can't even seem to delete it because I do actually need it for, communication and talking with people. And I do like to see what's up in other people, like my friends' world. And I also love to send reels to my friends and read the reels that my friends send me. So yeah, it's kind of hard to just give it up. I've also noticed that Instagram takes away motivation, which is kind of weird because a lot of people say that, it really does motivate people to do things, and which is a great thing. But I've also noticed that it does, in fact, take away motivation, because when we compare our lives to other people, we realize, how oversaturated the things we do are. Like, for instance, if we wanted to start a new business on Instagram, let's do the detailing market, for instance, detailing cars. That's something I've wanted to do, but something that has, kind of made me hesitate a little bit about it was the fact that, everybody was doing it. I was like, if there's this many people doing it, and if it is this easy for people my age to do it, then why isn't everybody doing it? And if everybody's doing it, then there's no way I'm going to find any business. But this is simply not true. You can find business anywhere and everywhere. But Instagram has kind of pushed me to the point where it's like, oh, that's kind of too oversaturated for me to get into. But that's not actually true. I don't know how it made me think that way, but I do feel like that is relatable because I felt like that through a lot of things. It can make something that's niche really, really, popular to the point where you think it's oversaturated. But yeah, if you watch Instagram long enough, it can turn you into something that you're not, with all the trends and with all of the, the cringe moments. It's like, oh crap, I don't want to do that because it's cringe, or, I want to be more like this person because they're not cringe. And that can push us to be somebody else, and you start becoming somebody who's not yourself, because back in the day, you could just watch a movie or watch something, and it can change your perspective, and you can want to be somebody else after that. But we have these entire algorithms, and you can kind of like become somebody else, and you can't even pinpoint what it is. You can't even get rid of it or understand why you're the way you are, just because you can't pinpoint what it is, which is pretty sad and uncontrollable. I would say that doom scrolling is probably the number one problem we have with this generation. I don't want to sound like a boomer or anything, but I do feel like this is probably one of our biggest challenges as a generation, because it's something that we're all going through and something that we pretty much all want to stop. And so why wouldn't that be the hardest thing that we have to deal with in this generation? I hope that we look back on this and are like, I'm glad we're not, in this anymore. But, for right now, I think that this is the main problem that we have. That and consumerism, and that is what doom scrolling reinforce. It's like, go buy stuff. Every single trend, it seems like, is, I have this, I have that, and that kind of encourages people to be like, yeah, I want that too. And so it makes people want to buy more. And even with the trends of like minimalism, or taking away the phone and buying an MP3 player, reading a book instead of doom scrolling and stuff like that, you are buying stuff there as well. That's a consumerism area as well. And I think that's like the main problem we have with America, but also the rest of the world as well. Everybody just wants to buy stuff, and that can leave us broke, and it does. We take out credit cards, we buy things, we get into debt. A lot of people are in that boat.